Yeah, we should not all be surprised about what happened last night at the end of Monday Night Raw. It was just a few days ago that Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch were having a huge Twitter feud. And one of the last things Ronda Rousey said is, next time I see you, I'm beating the living shit out of you. And that's exactly what happened. She beat the holy hell out of Becky Lynch. Monday Night Raw, good ending. Got a great promo by Triple H for his feud with Batista not being there, and Triple H just doing his damnedest to sell this thing, and again showing why he is definitely one of the best promos of all time. Say what you want about him being a guy who buried people back in the 2000s, the Reign of Terror and all that stuff. Triple H from day one to now, at least since 2000, maybe 1997 or something, is one of the best promos. The day he started was able to cut his own promos, this guy has been able to sell you anything. And he is selling you this match. Batista will be on Raw next week, as they said last night. But Monday Night Raw, again, with the Shield. We had the Shield reunion again. It's going to be Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Baron Corbin versus the Shield at Fastlane. WWE needs to stop going to the cookie jar on this faction. You can't keep doing this. The problem with this faction is that look at Evolution. Evolution is one of the greatest factions of all time. But yes, they started to break up in 2004 when Randy Orton was kicked out. They had their full breakup practically in 2005 when Batista turned on Triple H and Ric Flair. You didn't have a reunion of Evolution in 2008 or 2009. And here's another thing. Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista all morphed themselves enough to where when they did bring Evolution back, we had talk of bringing Evolution back, each and every one of these guys were better off as they were outside the faction, so they didn't need it. The problem is, with the Shield, Roman Reigns has not evolved at all. Seth Rollins evolved for a good bit. He became the corporate yes man, and then he became the Kingslayer, and then he became Master of Monday Night Rollins. The Ambrose went off his own way for a bit and did his own thing, but Roman has been stuck in the Shield-esque type character since day one. He hasn't evolved. He hasn't changed his character out at all. His repertoire moves, anything. He's been Roman Reigns from the Shield since the Shield broke up in 2014. Why? The only reason that this would work, where this entire Shield reunion is happening, is A, Dean Ambrose is gone and they want to get one more Shield run out of it, or B, they don't have faith in Roman Reigns keeping his popularity as he was last week. To anybody who thought that Roman just got cheers last night, he got boos. You could hear it. They're coming. It's Philadelphia. Even if Philadelphia is the only place that Roman Reigns is going to get a little bit of boos, it's going to happen because Philadelphia is just that place that, they boo anybody. They don't give a shit. There's always going to be those people who boo. But it's going to keep on happening. We have Fastlane this coming Sunday. Which, by the way, this was the go-home show in the Fastlane. And Monday Night Raw got, 2 matches outside of the Tag Team Championship match? The Intercontinental title's not even on the line at Fastlane. And so far on SmackDown, we have 2-3 matches. Fastlane is just a thrown-together mess. And Wrestlemania is 35 nights away, and we have 2 matches. 3 matches, probably, with Dave Batista and Triple H. 35 nights away, and the card's not even decided. Wow, this road to WrestleMania has been absolute trash. It has. This road to WrestleMania is terrible. Another negative for tonight, even though I know the match didn't end in a conclusive victor. Halfway through the show, not even halfway, halfway through the first hour, we hear the Revival will take on Aleister Black and Ricochet for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Why? And obviously, if Tommaso Ciampa wasn't injured with his neck, that was going to be the DIY spot. But why? Why are we getting Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the Revival? Doesn't make any sense. The Revival needs a win. The Revival, who won the tag team titles 3 weeks ago, the week before the Elimination Chamber, comes out the night after the Elimination Chamber, loses to DIY. They lose to DIY. Then the very next week, they lose to Aleister Black and Ricochet. They need a win. And you don't want to put Ricochet and Aleister Black over the Revival and take the titles off the Revival right now, but you need to get these guys wins. It's just WWE doesn't. They don't have any faith in the Revival. Like, yeah, we'll give you the titles because we don't want you to go to AEW. We don't want to release you, give you a 90-day notice. We'll give you the titles, but after that, we're not going to do anything with you. We're just going to have you lose after match after match after match. It's the Wade Barrett effect. Wade Barrett effect is because when Wade Barrett won any single championship, he lost every single title, every single non-title match. He might have won the title matches here and there, but he lost every single non-title match. How is that a credible champion? Give me a break. How is that making a champion credible if you're going to have them lose every single non-title match? Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Baron Corbin's feud this entire angle needs to die. They face off against Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Kurt Angle tonight. Absolute trash. Needs to end. Absolutely needs to end. Let's see what else we had here. We had Natalya taking on Ruby Riott because of what happened last week. Let's see here. We had Heavy Machinery run a proper gauntlet match against the B-Team, the Ascension, Kurt Hawkins, and Zack Ryder due to the fact that Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder, the Ascension, and the B-Team were making fun of Otis and Tucker Knight earlier in the day because WWE's got to take Otis and make him comedy fodder for everybody else they make Otis into a sensitive guy and make it so that if somebody makes fun of him, he pretty much goes out there and utterly destroys him. That's gonna get over like a wet fart. Let's see here. There's so much happening. Elias took on Dean Ambrose, which is what it is. And then Sasha Banks took on Tamina. Oh boy. Like anyone wants to see that. And then the Revival, of course. I believe this was the last match of the night. Yeah. The last match of the night, of course, was Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the Revival. And that was the last match, but not the last event. That was, of course, Ronda Rousey beating up on Becky Lynch after Stephanie McMahon took Ronda Rousey laying the title down last week as her vacating the title, and she was going to set up a match between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch for Fastlane. Yes, the 60-day suspension is lifted on Becky Lynch, and she is going to be facing Charlotte at Fastlane, but not for the Raw Women's Championship, but for a chance to get back into the WrestleMania main event, which, again, I don't understand why she has to earn her spot into WrestleMania twice. Which, if she has to earn her spot in the WrestleMania twice, first off, makes no fucking sense why you're having her face off against Charlotte Flair, because her beating Charlotte takes Charlotte from even being serious for winning the match at WrestleMania. We'll get to that in a minute. But we start this off with, of course, 2 weeks in a row, Roman Reigns starting off the show. Last week was fine. It was expected for him to start the show off, but the simple fact is he was coming back to give us an update on his cancer fight, and that made sense. We're not going to start the show off with anything else. This week was no reason for this. He comes out. We see clips from last week where he returned and announced that he's remission from his recent battle with leukemia. Reigns takes the mic, but the Roman chants pick up. Roman's pacing back and forth in the ring. Says last week was the comeback, but this week in Philly we take our yard back. Most of the fans pop with their word boos. There's always going to be boos now. Roman Reigns. People say that's going to be hard for people to boo a cancer patient. Nah, not this way. The way WWE is probably going to go with Roman Reigns, people are going to be booing Roman. Roman Reigns will be back to status quo in being booed out of the building every single time before SummerSlam. Mark my words. Reigns says he has to think about his future and what he wants, and there's only one man standing in his way, and that man is his brother, Seth Rollins. Get out here. I'm getting worried. I'm like, wait a minute. No. They're not going to do this, are they? They're not going to do this. We're not going to have a match at Fastlane where Roman takes on Seth, and if Roman wins, he takes the title shot over Seth Rollins. I was really getting worried. Reigns says in order to get what he wants, he needs to address that and calls out Rollins. Rollins first wants to say that one of the best moments of his own career was watching Reigns stay in here last week and come back. That made him feel like he can do anything. Rollins says he is going to take that feeling, that emotion, and everything to slay the beast at WrestleMania 35. Rollins is going to bring the title back to Raw and represent it each week, and bring the title back to where it belongs. The title belongs on Monday Night Raw. Rollins says he might know where Reigns' head is at. Rollins understands that it's like to have to vacate the title and never lose it. As we all know, he did have to vacate the WWE Championship at the end of 2015 because he tore his knee out in a match against, I believe, Kane. Yeah. On house show, and he had to vacate the title, which we ended up having Roman Reigns win it at Survivor Series, lose it in 5 minutes, and then win it back again, and then lose it again, and then win it back at Wrestlemania. Rollins says if anyone deserves a shot at Lesnar more than he does, it's Reigns. Rollins says if that's where Reigns is at, let's talk about it. Or it's like, when he said that, I'm like, oh, we're not going to have a match at Fastlane. I'm still thinking this. And then Reigns kind of put, I think, everybody at ease at this for once. Reigns says, I thought you knew everything, but you're wrong. Reigns says, while he's gone, one person watched over this place, and he points to Seth Rollins. One man kept things in line and knew what was best. Reigns says no one has more confidence in Rollins than he does. Reigns knows Rollins can get the job done with Lesnar. All Reigns has to say about the match is, good luck, my brother. Rollins says, though, he needs a favor. And Rollins says, anything. Rollins says anything Reigns needs, he's got. Got it. Reigns says he wants to get the band back together one more time. And when he said one more time, it made me even remember that, oh, that's right, Dean Ambrose is leaving in April still. There is no talk of him staying. He might be happy, as it was coming out last week, that he was the happiest he's ever been in months backstage. But that could just be because his brother's back. Does not mean he's happy creatively. After the Shield reunion is done and over, what's going to happen to Dean Ambrose? You can't revisit the heel turn that they did last year with Dean Ambrose again. The only person of the Shield, if you do the Shield reunion without these guys, and having one person turn on the others, it's got to be Roman Reigns, obviously. That's the only one that makes sense. Seth did it, Dean did it, now it would be Roman. So, the only reason they're doing this, I just don't get it. Why they would want to bring the Shield back unless Dean Ambrose is really leaving and they want to get that one last nostalgia trip with the Shield going into WrestleMania. Reigns says he wants to get the band back together. The crowd pops. Rollins says, I said you could have anything but that. Not that. Fans boo. Rollins says after what Ambrose did on that night, he did it. No way. Reigns thought he could sell Rollins from the get-go, but he thinks he has his work cut out for him. Fans chant for the Shield. Spare me this one, please. Reigns says he asked the fans if they want it, and they pop. Reigns says tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Life is short, and we don't know how much time we have. Truest statement out of Roman Reigns of all time, right there. Life is short. Nothing is guaranteed. We don't know how much time we have. Truest thing he's ever said. The most important thing we have are relationships, and they are his brothers. Reigns doesn't know what's with Ambrose, if he's coming or going. That's another dig at his contract situation, whether he's coming or going. He's going to be going, probably. But he's making headlines, and Reigns just wants one more moment with his brothers while he can. Reigns asks Rollins what he thinks. Fans chant for the Shield again. Fans cheers. Rollins thinks it over, and Rollins says he's put that part of his life behind him. But Reigns is right. Life is too short, and tomorrow is not guaranteed. Rollins says if Reigns wants the Shield together one more time, he's got it. Rollins says he's in. Reigns calls for Ambrose to come out. Out comes Dean Ambrose to a big pop. Fans chant Ambrose's name. He stops on the stage, but outruns. Before he's sitting there thinking about it, and out comes Elias with a big guitar shot over the back. Reigns goes down. Ambrose goes down. Reigns and Rollins run up the ramp to check on Ambrose as Elias retreats to the back. We see fans who are in shock in the crowd. Ambrose finally gets up and heads to the back by himself, pushes Reigns and Rollins off of him. He's not interested in any help from Reigns or Rollins. They look on as Ambrose heads to the back. So they're just teasing you, and just this is the slow burn that they want to do. If it wasn't for the fact that if Fastlane was long behind us, this would be teased all the way up to WrestleMania. They would pull this all out. But with the fact that Fastlane is coming up this Sunday, they want to have this happen this Sunday instead of at WrestleMania. We will find out the update status on Ronda Rousey in the Women's title from Stephanie. Triple H will address Batista later in the show. Backstage, Charlotte Caruso with Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Lio Rush. She asked about what we saw with the Shield. Drew says he broke the Shield months ago, and that was 3 weeks, just 3 people living in the past. And it makes me sick. Corbin plugs tonight's match against Braun Strowman, WWE Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor, and Hall of Famer Kurt Angle. Bobby Lashley says Finn Balor is wearing my Intercontinental title on borrowed time. This needs to end. This is just pathetic. This is like the whole reason, I just swear, the whole reason this entire group is together is to, 1, battle the Shield, and 2, they have no faith in Drew McIntyre as a solo star. They had him with Dolph Ziggler, and he did well. They broke him off with Dolph Ziggler, and it's like he's finally going to start building himself up to be the next big mega single heel. And then they put him with Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley. Why? Why? It's just pathetic. Nobody cares. This match was just this match. Lashley tags in, hits the spear on Balor for 1, 2, 3. After the match, the heels continue destroying the babyfaces. Angle is driven into the steel steps at ringside. Corbin calls for part of the steps to be brought into the ring, where Drew drops Balor with the Claymore kick. Then he gets Braun is still down on the outside. Balor gets driven in the steps, and Drew stands over Balor adding the steps to pose. Corbin and Lashley also poses. Lashley's music hits. And then we got the news. Ricochet and Aleister Black get a Raw Tag Team title shot, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? WWE is trying to hurt the tag team division. I mean, this would have made a little bit more sense, I guess, if DIY, who were a tag team at one time, but are really a full tag team right now. Again, why did Ricochet, Aleister Black, and DIY both face the Revival? You could have put Hawkins and Ryder out there. You could have put the Ascension out there. You could have put the B team out there. Chad Gable and Bobby Roode could have been out there for those, and that would have made so much more sense, because you could have had those teams lose to these guys. Having the tag team champions lose does nothing for their credibility. They are meaningless tag team champions right now. They are back to square one, where they were last year, losing all the time. The only difference is they have the tag team titles. Putting the tag team titles on a team just for them to lose every non-title match makes absolutely no fucking sense. Charlotte Caruso is backstage with Heavy Machinery. She knows they are in a good mood, and she hates to ruin it. So why ruin it? Seriously. Charlotte Caruso, it's not Charlotte Caruso's fault, but WWE is booking Charlotte Caruso and putting her in these situations to piss people off. To be a party pooper or a ruiner of bad times, because she comes in here and just ruins a good mood for Heavy Machinery. But it seems some of the other tag teams aren't happy with them being on Raw. Then she shows us a camera caught backstage earlier. The B team, the Ascension, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder taking shots at Tucker and Otis. They're also ranting on the call-ups, getting opportunities before they do. You've had opportunities, Ascension. You've had many opportunities back in when you made your debut 5, 6, 7 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago. Your opportunities have come and gone. We go back to Heavy Machinery, and Otis says his feelings are hurt. Tucker says he's going to talk to the McMahons and make sure they get the chance to take out each team one by one. Tucker says Otis will get the chance to hurt those who hurt his feelings. Do we really have to do this? Do we really have to do the big fat dude, like a fat kid or a bigger kid? Like, this is like Kevin Owens back when Kevin Owens first made his debut, and he's just getting fat shamed. Do we really have to do the fat shaming route? Do we really have to go the fat shaming route to get these guys over? The gauntlet match is fine. It helps get a new team over. But why would we have to continue with the fat shaming? Corey Graves, we'll get to that in a minute. Oh my god, I'm tired of Corey Graves already. Him and Renee Young and Michael Cole need to go. We need a new team for Monday Night Raw. Natalya versus Ruby Riott. This match stems from last week, because last week's Monday Night Raw tag team match against the Ruby Riott squad and Riott and Natalya had no conclusive finish due to Becky Lynch coming out and destroying everybody, or at least Natalya and Ronda Rousey. Come back from break, and Ruby Riott and Natalya in the ring. Ruby immediately attacks and beats down Natalya down as Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, other Riott squad look on. Ruby works Natalya around and takes her to the corner for a kick spot. Ruby beats Natalya back and keeps her to the ground. Natalya gets free and nails a big suplex on Ruby. Natalya levels Ruby with a discus clothesline. Natalya goes for the sharpshooter and gets it locked in. Ruby crawls to the ropes, but Natalya pulls it back. They tangle some more to the mat, trading pin attempts, and it looks like we're going to have Ruby win, but no. But Natalya reverses a pinfall roll-up into another roll-up for the 1, 2, 3. Liv and Logan hit the ring, but then, of course, Natalya runs away, and that was that. Of course, this is something that WWE's trying. As soon as Natalya leaves, we hear Lacey Evans' music hit. She walks right past Natalya. Radio silence. We're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the place that boos anything they don't like. Lacey Evans comes out, and the only people you hear is the announcers talking up and hyping up her, how she is the next big thing. The crowd doesn't care about Lacey Evans. No one cares about Lacey Evans. She had a shitty showing in the Royal Rumble, botch after botch after botch. Was not seen 3 weeks until we got to the Elimination Chamber. She walks out the Elimination Chamber to no reaction, and since then she has no reaction. WWE is expecting this to get her heat. Oh, you're disturbing my time on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live. You're interrupting things. Boo. She has had no reaction. No one cares. And this is the woman you want to have Asuka face at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship and possibly beat Asuka. Are you kidding me? This woman has no reaction. Nobody cares. This entire, just having her strut out there to turn around and go back is doing nothing for her. She is dead in the water. Her gimmick, her character, and everything is dead in the water. And to anybody who's like, oh, it should be Asuka and Lacey Evans main eventing WrestleMania instead of Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda Rousey. Shut the fuck up. She hasn't done anything, and she's not going to do anything. This is a poor attempt by WWE to get this woman heel heat. And when she gets finally put into a match at WrestleMania, and this is the Fandango. This is Fandango all over again. Fandango's first singles match was at WrestleMania against Chris Jericho. But leading up to that, he would come out and be scheduled for matches, but because the announcers would not get his name right, he would not wrestle in a match. That got heat because he actually got to the ring, was ready to wrestle, but got to Mike and was like, you can't say my name right, fuck this, I'm leaving. That was the way to do that. This, just having her walk down and walk back, is doing nothing. Nobody cares, and nobody's gonna care. Just WWE showing favoritism to somebody, and it's doing nothing. You know who I want to see face Asuka at WrestleMania? I want to see Nikki Cross versus Asuka. Plain and simple. Go revisit what they did in NXT against each other. Asuka versus Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Give that something. That's what I want to see. Lacey Evans, no. Nikki Cross should get that spot. Stephanie was backstage with tonight's guest stars, live weekend, Saturday Night Live's weekend update host Michael Che and Colin Jost. Who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck about that. It's one of those celebrity things. It's like, really, we're still doing this celebrity guest hosting. I guess they're going to be correspondents at WrestleMania. Please do not have them have any time outside of like maybe the pre-show. I don't want to see them interrupting us at WrestleMania at all. Triple H is here. And this was the best promo of the night, no doubt about it. We get a Instagram video from Batista where he taunts Triple H and says he won't be at Raw tonight because he hates Philly. Villain Heat 101. I'm not here because I don't like that town. Triple H actually mentions this. But he says he might be at Pittsburgh next week, even though he doesn't like Pittsburgh either. No offense. Triple H talked about how he had a chance to bring WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair. He did not. He broke kayfabe. Like, people were complaining and bitching about how much Ronda Rousey broke kayfabe over the weekend with the word fake and calling Rebecca Quinn by her actual name. He went complete kayfabe right here. He did not say Ric Flair. He said Richard Flair through this entire thing. He got emotional. Maybe, I don't know if the alligator tears were there or not. Triple H goes on about the real man behind Ric Flair character and their relationship and how close they were. Triple H gets choked up when he's talking about the health issues Richard Flair dealt with last year. He goes about how special last week was supposed to be and says it didn't happen because the piece of he stopped himself. Triple H says Batista wanted his attention. He cried about it online for 2 years, and we all know why. He takes shots at Batista for always quitting when he can't get his way. He says, well, what happened when you didn't get the reaction from these crowds? You quit. What happened when you didn't get the respect you thought you earned? You quit. You couldn't quit this time, so you did something else. You attacked a 70-year-old man. He attacked a 70-year-old man who was lucky to be alive, taking a special moment away from him. Now he wants to pop up on the screen and play the bad guy 101 with him. Triple H mocks the Instagram video. Triple H says he doesn't really care where Batista wants to go or what he wants to do. Triple H says he will show up at Batista's house or invite him to his own. He will go wherever Batista is, movie set, name it. Every building WWE goes to, he will be there waiting for Batista. Triple H tells Batista to have some balls and show it. Triple H says this isn't something they're selling or putting out there. No characters or names or on a marquee. Triple H says Batista won't be looking into the eyes of the character, he will be looking into the eyes of the man. Triple H tells Batista to stand up to him like a man and he will give him what he wants. Triple H says if Dave wants his attention, he's got it. He drops the mic and storms out of the ring to the fans' pop. That my going over that did no justice to this promo. This was a damn good promo and shows again why this was not scripted. You can tell 100% this came from Triple H's heart. This was definitely a non-scripted promo, and of course Triple H, who he is, he has that freedom to not have a scripted promo. This, you could tell, like, just from him delivering this, he wasn't remembering lines. He wasn't trying to, like, think on the fly like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. This guy shows why scripted promos have to go. This was awesome. This was awesome. If you have not seen this promo, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, but I'm probably sure it's going to be cut down. Try and see if you can find a way to see this entire promo, because this was great. And this is going to help you build towards that match. The match might be shit. Quite honestly, I think the match is going to be shit. But the build towards the match, the promos are going to be the best part of this. And we had a great, damn good promo last night. Let's see what here. Stephanie comes walking out of her office and Charlotte Cruiser stops her for her comments on the Raw Women's title. She says, Ronda Rousey landed the title last week was disrespectful. It was downright blasphemy. Which is why WWE is going to do what's right and reinstate Becky Lynch, drop charges, and lift her suspension. Lynch has to come to Raw tonight to sign an hold harmless agreement to take the liability off WWE for when she faces Charlotte Flair at Fastlane for the vacant Raw Women's Championship. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? What the fuck? This is awful. We'll hold off all that later on, but at the time, you're looking at this, you know, like, what the fuck are they doing? And how are you going to take the title off of Ronda and build this all up for over a year? You've been building up that you're going to have Ronda Rousey in the main event of Wrestlemania, and she's not going to be Raw Women's Champion? What the fuck? We'll get to that later. Back from break, Roman Reigns walks up on Dean Ambrose, warming up backstage. Reigns thought they were past meeting in places like this. He was in a suit, he was in a pipes area of the back. He was in the bowels of the arena they were in. Then they have locker rooms where you can talk anything. Reigns says if Reigns wants to talk, let's talk. Reigns walks off. Ambrose walks off to get ready for his match. Gauntlet match, Heavy Machinery versus the B-Team versus the Ascension versus Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. B-Team got destroyed by Otis, and Otis pretty much destroyed the B-Team first. Then the Ascension got beat down. Then Kurt Hawkins took a caterpillar elbow drop for the 1-2-3. The caterpillar actually won Otis a match. I don't think that's happened in NXT, but. And then of course Michael Cole had to remind Renee Young that it's not the worm, it's the caterpillar, even though it's the same thing, only it's an elbow drop at the end instead of a smack on the like a chop. Yeah. Tori Wilson is introduced as the next Hall of Famer for the 2019 class. Tori Wilson, Hall of Famer. I don't think she deserves it. She has done absolutely nothing. She brought nothing to the WWE. She won no championship. She had no meaningful. The only thing that she's going to be remembered for is her dad being fucked to death by Dawn Marie. That is it. That is the biggest thing, the highlight of her fucking WWE career. Where's Victoria? Where's Lisa Marie Varon? She deserves this more than Tori Wilson. Why is Tori Wilson a Hall of Famer? She's not. In my opinion, and opinions of many, Tori Wilson is not a Hall of Famer. She did nothing for the WWE. She was just another cog in the machine of the early 2000s WWE. She brought nothing, and she was nothing. Plain and simple. Then, for whatever reason, they lead from that into a special sneak peek at Captain Marvel, so I don't get where that came from. It was announced that next week Batista will be in Pittsburgh to face off with Triple H. Let's see if that actually happens. He says we're playing this by his rules, not by Triple H's, so it could be announced, but he could not show up. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Charlotte Caruso is backstage with Charlotte Flair. Caruso brings up Becky facing Charlotte for the title at Fastlane. Flair interrupts and says, and goes on about how the man doesn't compare to the Queen, and says that Flair says she will put Becky on the shelf for good. She goes on and says the universe will get to bask in her glory when she becomes the Raw Women's Champion. So, you're stealing Keith Lee's lines now, Charlotte. Really? Really? Then Seth Rollins approaches Dean Ambrose backstage and wants to talk. Rollins acknowledges they fight sometimes, but he says, that's what brothers do. He likes to think there has always been mutual respect between them. Oh, I hated this line so much. This was just so stupid. He says Ambrose has been his wrestling soulmate and always will be. That just sounded so bad. Who came up with that line? Rollins says they have one chance to do it right. Well, Ambrose says he's too occupied to get the Shield back together. It's a no-go. He appreciates the help last week, but he's got business in the ring tonight, and he's got to do it on his own. Ambrose walks off. Elias comes back, and he's saying how he's taking shots at Philly about them being no Stanley Cup, the fact that Elder Mothers look like Gritty, and a bunch of other stuff until Dean Ambrose finally interrupts. You know, Elias, if you would have stopped right before there, you probably could have been done with your concert before Ambrose interrupted you, but that's your own fault. Ambrose immediately unloads on Elias, working him over for a few minutes and tossing him over the top rope to the floor. Ambrose follows and sends Elias to the barrier. Ambrose keeps control and breaks the count. He brings Elias back in and clotheslines him over the opposite side. Fans chant for the tables as we go to commercial. Back from break, and Elias walks to the top rope in control of Ambrose for Old School. Ambrose ends up hitting a big suicide dive to send Elias into the barrier. The referee counts to 6 as Ambrose brings it back in. Ambrose unloads with the clothesline. Ambrose with the more offense and another running forearm. Elias sends Ambrose into the turnbuckle and then hits a big lariat. Ambrose tries to fight back, but Elias drops him with kicks. Elias with a big knee drop for a 2 count. Elias with civil offense. Ambrose blocks the suplex and rolls Elias up for a 2 count. Ambrose with a neck breaker. Ambrose goes for the top rope, but Elias delivers a big knee in midair. Hits the drift away for the 1, 2, 3. And Elias wins a TV match, a meaningless TV match, which still begs me to believe that the Dean Ambrose train is going to be stopping after WrestleMania, and he's going to be heading off. Elias celebrates after the match and makes his exit as Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins appear on stage, and Ambrose recovers. Back from break, Reigns and Rollins are in the ring with Dean Ambrose. It sounds like Reigns and Rollins are trying to talk Ambrose into getting the Shield back together. Ambrose just paces back and forth. Ambrose finally walks through both of them, exiting the ring and leaving through the crowd. Some fans went from booing to chanting for the Shield. The music hits, and out comes Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Ambrose turns on the steps and watches the heels approach the ring. Corbin takes the mic and says, "This is just pathetic." Yes, it is. McIntyre also takes a shot, calling the 3 broken stray dogs fighting for the scraps. Reigns and Rollins look on from the ring, Ambrose from the stairs in the crowd. Drew addresses Reigns and taunts him, calling them both pathetic. Drew says they were going to offer Reigns and Rollins an epic match at Fastlane, but they don't deserve it, so they're going to end this right now. Reigns and Rollins are surrounded by the heels, stand on their apron. The fight begins. Ambrose watches from the stairs as the double team catches up on Rollins and Reigns. Fans pop for Ambrose, who runs back to the ring and makes the save for Rollins and Reigns. The Shield clears the ring and stands tall together as the fans chant the name. Rollins and Reigns put their fists forward. Ambrose hesitates but finally gives in, putting the fist in there. In the middle of the ring, fans pop as the music hits. The Shield stand all together. Reunited, the McIntyre, Lashley, and Corbin look on as the Graves hypes up a 6-man challenge that was issued for Fastlanes, and that's the match we're getting. The WWE is really stifling everybody in the Shield. Just putting these guys back together for a 4th or 5th time. I've lost fucking count. I think we have all lost fucking count how many times they brought the Shield back together. The Shield broke up in 2014. So, all of the rest of 2014, all of 2015, and all of 2016, and half of 2017, the Shield was done, broken. As soon as Dean Ambrose was brought over to Monday Night Raw and the Superstar Shakeup, I knew exactly what the fuck they were doing in 2017. Sometime down the line in 2017, they were bringing the Shield back together. Too early. I think if you skip the 2017 and the 2018 reformation of the Shield, this is actually a lot better. That's another 2 years of the Shield being gone and more hype for the Shield. I still don't get how fans can be so excited for the Shield to come back for a 3rd fucking time. It's just not worth it. And if this is the last, if Dean Ambrose is leaving in April, this is the last time we'll see the Shield probably ever. This is why they're doing it too. But it's just WWE trying to get that bag of nostalgia and getting as much as they can. Because if Dean Ambrose is actually leaving, this is the last time we'll see the Shield, and I think that is a good thing. The Shield is not needed, is not necessary. You can't just keep putting a faction together again and again and again. Look at DX back in the 2000s. Yes, Triple H became the best, the best breakout person from it. But you brought X-Pac, Belly Gun, Road Dogg, and Triple H back together so many times that it stifled Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and X-Pac to the point that eventually they didn't matter unless they were in DX. The problem with this is you're bringing the Shield back together again, that the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose will not matter unless they're in the Shield in WWE. It's like if the Shield breaks out, if the Shield ends again, it's like, see, Dean Ambrose leaves. People are going to be pissed, which, hey, it is what it is, but this is gonna damage Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. But if Dean Ambrose leaves and becomes Jon Moxley again and goes to AEW, for a while there, yeah, people are gonna probably chant "you sold out" or "you like Shield" at him or whatever. This is going to hurt Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in the long run. Seth Rollins should be focusing on Brock Lesnar, not teaming with the Shield. Why is he taking his focus away from Brock Lesnar to work with the Shield? This makes no sense for that. The only way this should have been done is Dean Ambrose keeps saying no, I don't want this, no. And then Roman's like, you know what, I've had enough of this. Challenges to a match at WrestleMania. These two have a match at WrestleMania where Roman Reigns brutalizes the living fuck out of him. Later on in the night, after the match is over, and I'd say that would be the show opener. Just saying. It would be the show opener. Because you're not going to put somebody who's on his way out anywhere higher up on the card. It wouldn't be a punishment to Roman Reigns. It'd be a punishment to Dean Ambrose. But you would have those two have their match. Dean Ambrose, of course, loses. He's on his way out. Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins have their match. Brock Lesnar loses to Seth Rollins. And then after the match, this is not the main event, of course. That's going to be the women. But Brock Lesnar, after a match, is incensed that he lost to a guy like Seth Rollins. Beats him down. Out comes Roman and Dean Ambrose to save the day. After they dispatch Brock Lesnar and send him packing to the UFC, they do the whole fist bump thing, and then the Shield have a one-night reunion, and Dean Ambrose is off on his way. This is going to hurt. This is not going to help Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose in the end. This is only going to hurt them. You can't keep going back to this. If you're going to keep the Shield together, keep them together. Stop breaking them up. If you're going to keep them together, what was the point of breaking them up in 2014? Because nobody has had a breakout. No one's been completely broken out. They're still going to be tied to the Shield. That is a problem. Just like if the New Day was the breakup, if Kofi Kingston wins the WWE Championship at WrestleMania and they broke the New Day up. One, that would be a terrible idea marketing-wise because the New Day are one of the most profitable groups in WWE, one of the most profitable entities in WWE. But if you broke them up, Kofi would be off being the WWE champion for a bit. Big E and Xavier Woods would be trying to find their own way, and it just wouldn't work. WWE's got to be careful with this whole faction thing. Just bringing them back together again and again and again is not working. That's my thoughts on that. The whole Shield reunion is not something we need, and it's just going to be worse in the end. Sasha Banks versus Tamina Snuka. Why the fuck did this match happen? Oh my goodness. I know why this match happened is because we're going towards Fastlane, where it's going to be the Boston Hug Connection versus the Samoa Slaughterhouse, or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves. Snuka takes control, going to work on Banks. Snuka ends up dropping Banks for a 2 count. Banks turns it around and fights in from the apron. Banks drops Snuka in the corner and hits the double knees for a 2 count. More back and forth. Snuka misses a headbutt and Banks follows up with a knee to the face for a 2 count as Bayley watches from ringside. Snuka ends up catching Banks on her shoulder, but it's blocked. Snuka ragdolls Banks some now. Banks avoids a super kick and rolls Snuka up for a pin attempt. More back and forth. Banks drops Snuka into the Banks statement. Jax pulls Snuka to safety to the floor. Bayley comes over to assist, but Jax launches her on the floor. Banks comes flying off the apron with a meteor to Jax, taking her down. Snuka approaches but Banks sends her into the ring post. Snuka distracts the referee while Jax stops Banks from re-entering the ring. Banks turns around with a big super kick to Banks. Banks turns back around to a big super kick for the 3. Snuka beats Sasha Banks. After the match, Jax and Snuka celebrate as the champions try to cover. They leave together with Bayley checking on Banks in the ring. Tells you who's winning that match at Fastlane. It's not going to be the Samoan Slaughterhouse. Revival versus Ricochet and Aleister Black for the tag team championships. This match was a pretty good match. I still don't get why we're getting these guys a match at all. It should not be. I know they want to try and make the NXT stars look big. Aleister Black is up here 100%. He's already had his goodbye tour in NXT. Ricochet, I'm not sure if he's back yet. I mean, I'm up there completely. But Aleister Black is definitely up on the main roster. Tommaso Ciampa, we've already talked about that. He has possible spinal stenosis, and he could be the match between him and Johnny Gargano at TakeOver is probably in question, and that is terrible news. But I know you want to try and make these guys big stars and put them over big. Why are they getting a tag team title shot already? They should be going, why are these guys even a tag team now? These guys, yes, they had that tag team match with the Velveteen Dream at the halftime heat, but why are these guys just all of a sudden a tag team? These guys have been in NXT together since WrestleMania weekend last year, because that's when Ricochet made his debut. And up until recently, they weren't even interacting with each other. Ricochet did the War Games with Pete Dunne and the War Raiders, and Aleister Black was off feuding with Johnny Gargano and then Tommaso Ciampa. Where did these two just decide to fall in line that they're a tag team now? It makes absolutely no sense to me. This was a good match, and this one is just way too much to try and go back and forth with. But Ricochet towards the end fights both off with a backslide dash for a close 2 count. Ricochet with a neck breaker for a 2 Dawson and a roll up 2 dash for another 2. Ricochet rocks Dawson with a right hand dash and Ricochet trade pin attempts. Dawson runs in but runs right into a boot from Black. Ricochet sends Dawson out. Ricochet flies in from the apron with a big uppercut to Dash, sending him to the outside. Chad Gable and Bobby Roode come out and attack the Revival while they are down on the outside for the disqualification. After the match, Black and Ricochet argue with Gable and Roode from the ring. Gable and Roode go to enter the ring, but now they enter the ring as the two teams face off, arguing with each other. Black strikes Roode first, and the two teams go at it. Ricochet and Black clear the ring and run the ropes for dodge, but they do their poses in the middle of the ring, taunting Gable and Roode. So, are Bobby Roode and Chad Gable heels now? Did Bobby Roode finally have his heel turn, but he's only in a tag team still? This is honestly going to probably lead to a triple threat match at not NXT, but at Fastlane for the tag team titles. I don't believe it was announced. No, it was not. No, it was not. It was not announced. It was not announced, but I would not be surprised between now and Fastlane's kickoff show we get an announcement that Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus Aleister Black versus Ricochet, and Ricochet versus the Revival for the Raw Tag Team titles. This would be a way for the Revival to get a win by pinning Chad Gable and Bobby Roode without having to pin the Revival, without pinning Ricochet and Aleister Black. So if that's the case, good move. Let's see. Tonight, they talk about Women's History Month, and they lead us to a video package of Go Up Foundation and supporter Alexa Bliss, blah, 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 don't really care. We come back and we have the Raw Women's Championship contract signing, or we think it's a Raw Women's Championship contract signing, when in fact, things get really interesting soon. Stephanie talks about how wild it is on the road to WrestleMania. Not really. 2 matches, third being teased between Batista and Triple H, and that's it for WrestleMania. It just seems like a Fastlane pay-per-view is not necessary. Especially when we're down to dual-branded pay-per-views and no single-branded pay-per-views. This kind of kills the entire reason to having Fastlane. He shows us footage for Ronda Rousey laid down the Raw Women's title at last on her feet, hoping to get Becky Lynch reinstated for her suspension so they could face each other at WrestleMania. Instead of facing Charlotte Flair, Stephanie says it's time to rectify this situation. She starts by bringing out the Queen, Charlotte, and then she introduces Fastlane opponent, the man, Becky Lynch. Out comes Becky Lynch to a big pop. Becky is using one crutch. Fans chant for Becky as she enters the ring. Stephanie says she certainly needs a championship, so it will be Flair versus Lynch at Fastlane to crown a new Raw Women's Champion. Stephanie says Becky is obviously not 100%, so she has to sign this hold harmless agreement to make sure she can't sue WWE if she gets hurt at Fastlane. Flair tells Becky to sign it unless Stephanie wants to go ahead and hand the title to her queen. Becky says she previously beat Flair on one leg and can go ahead and do it right now if they don't want to wait. Stephanie stops them for legal reasons and tells Becky to sign so they can get it at Fastlane. Fans chant for Becky as she signs the agreement, saying Stephanie makes the match official for the title at Fastlane. We see Rousey on the big screen watching in the arena. Fans pop as she does not look happy, so we go to commercial. Back from break though, when Rousey marches to the ring as her music hits, Rousey may ask Stephanie what she's doing. Rousey says she didn't give the title up last week. She gave Stephanie a week to come with a plan, so she didn't like what Stephanie came up with. Rousey says she wanted Becky to be included. Rousey ordered Stephanie to give her title back. Stephanie hands it over and says she still has business to do tonight. Flair versus Lynch is still on for Fastlane. If Becky loses, she is done. If Becky wins, she will be added to Flair versus Rousey at WrestleMania 35 to make it a triple threat. We all know how that is going. Stephanie asks if that will make Rousey and the fans happy, if that's what everyone wants. No! We want Becky versus Ronda one-on-one, and what we've seen between Becky and Ronda, whether it was on Raw right after the Royal Rumble or in their Twitter feud on Twitter, we don't need Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair feels like a third wheel in this race. She's not needed. Fans respond with a mixed reaction, as they should. Rousey talks about how Stephanie is only worried about her wallet, says she makes Stephanie too much money to get fired. She goes on taking shots at Stephanie, Flair, and Lynch. Rousey says she did everything she could to respect this business. She poured her heart out. She sacrificed. She turns to the crowd and yells at them for turning on her in her hometown of Los Angeles, among other things. Rousey goes on ranting against the fans, saying there's no more Miss Nice Bitch. Rousey suddenly drops Flair with one shot and brawls with Becky to the mat. Rousey mounts Becky and loads on her with an armbar. A proper armbar, not that bullshit armbar she puts on her later. Rousey mounts Lynch and unloads on her. Rousey with an armbar now, and referee tries to break things up. Has no luck. Flair acts like she's coming back in the ring, but she backs off and the apron as Rousey approaches Rousey waits for Becky to get back up, and she strikes in the corner, and we see Stephanie walking up the ramp. More of the same. Rousey beats the living piss out of Becky Lynch from pillar to post. She implies her weak-ass looking armbar. Flair backs off and hesitates some more. Rousey grabs the title as fans boo her. Rousey puts a boot to Becky's face and raises the title in the air as Flair backs up the ramp. Fans boo. Becky tries to fight back, but Rousey pounds on her some more, taking her back down and delivering more strikes. Flair watches from the ramp as Rousey delivers more shots. Rousey with another armbar to Becky. Rousey raises the title again and stares Flair down as the boos continue to go to replays. Rousey stands tall with the title as the music hits. Rousey yells at out at the crowd while Flair looks on from the ramp. Becky is still down on the mat. Rousey faces the title over Becky as we cut backstage in Charlie Caruso. Before we get to that, this is the Ronda Rousey we should have seen from day one. This is Ronda Rousey we should have seen from day one. None of this smiling, waving, I'm a nice bitch. No. This is the Ronda Rousey that should have been there from day one. This is the Ronda Rousey we needed to see every single step of the way. Not this bullshit that we've seen all the time, the smiling, the fucking I'm happy to be here, I'm overwhelmed to be here. No. This is what we should have seen. Cole even mentioned, this is the Ronda Rousey everybody expected coming when she came to WWE. Why did WWE stifle her and hold her back with this? This is what we needed to see, and I fucking loved it. Becky Lynch winning the title at WrestleMania is going to look more and more great as we get closer to WrestleMania. But you should have seen this coming. Ronda Rousey followed up with what she said on Friday. Next time I see you, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And she beat the shit out of her. Plain and simple. Backstage, Kelly Cruz asked Stephanie about her reaction to doing Rousey a favor just now. Stephanie says that's not what she did at all. Stephanie says what just happened is ridiculous. Rousey showed her true color, showed she is an animal that Stephanie believes her to be. Stephanie says Rousey has no regard for anyone, not her opponents, the fans, Stephanie, or the company. Stephanie says Rousey showed exactly who she is tonight. Stephanie has no love for Becky, but she feels sorry for what she just saw. Stephanie is sick to her stomach over what Rousey did. Stephanie asks, who the hell is Rousey and who does she think she is to do that? Stephanie can't wait to see what happens at WrestleMania, but if Flair versus Rousey or triple threat, Stephanie says Rousey will get what's coming to her. Charlie Caruso asks if Stephanie regrets her decision. Stephanie says that it's tough to say, but we are going to get one hell of a match at WrestleMania. And she can't wait to see what happens. Caruso asks if Stephanie has any other decisions to make before next week's Raw. Stephanie says she has a lot to think about and a lot of decisions she needs to be made around here. The behavior we saw needs to be addressed. Stephanie says Rousey is a loose cannon. Stephanie says Rousey thinks Stephanie won't make a decision that impacts Rousey's career, but she needs to think differently. We go back to the ring and we see referees checking on Lynch in the corner. Heel Rousey raises the title as the music plays and Raw goes off the air. And that was Monday Night Raw. Great fucking way to end the show. I don't want to see Stephanie again. I'm tired of seeing Stephanie on TV. She makes it all about her. When Stephanie's on TV, the whole show is about her. But definitely the way Ronda should have been. I never liked the whole, hey, my music hits. This woman's making fun of me, but I'm just going to come out. I'm going to smile. I'm going to smile and wave to the crowds. I'm going to give little girls my MMA gloves. Cut that shit. This was what we needed to see from day one. I loved it. It was definitely a great way to get Ronda Rousey. The problem is, Ronda Rousey did not really need to turn heel if you're going to make this a triple threat match. Becky Lynch is your babyface. Charlotte Flair is your heel. Ronda Rousey is the one in between. Now you have Charlotte Flair, who is not needed, and that was clear tonight. Again, you don't need Charlotte Flair for this match. I know they have her in there because they want two women who are going to be there after WrestleMania, 100%, in the main event. Now, if this was a match that was opening the show or in the middle of the show, they wouldn't care as much because that's not how it goes. But this is going to be your main event of WrestleMania. You don't want a main event of WrestleMania, the main event of WrestleMania outside of Brock Lesnar, have two, which is kind of weird that they do this, but have two superstars in that match and then one just be gone the next night. So that is why this is a triple threat match, which is kind of pathetic, but it is what it is. This, again, shows why Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch is the match we all want and the match we all need. We don't need Charlotte Flair in this match, and they prove that tonight. This is going to be interesting what happens at Fastlane. Obviously, Becky Lynch is going to win. You're not going to take Becky Lynch out of this main event at WrestleMania. You're not, and as I just said, they want two women who are 100% going to be on Raw or SmackDown after the shows are over. It just sucks that Asuka is just left out in the cold right now. Her biggest challenge, like the biggest thing they could have did for Asuka was Charlotte Flair versus Asuka 2 at WrestleMania, and that's off the cards because they're gonna and here's the thing, outside of Asuka, the two top women from SmackDown are on Raw feuding for the Raw Championship. What does that do for SmackDown? There's a chance that the SmackDown Live Women's Championship doesn't even get defended at Wrestlemania, or is putting to a six-pack challenge just to give everybody a chance. And we really don't want that. Batista next week, let's see what happens there. But this was the go-home show, the Fast Lane, by the way, where we had the Shield versus, Roman Reigns is going to be in his first pay-per-view back and is going to be in the main event again. The main event of that show is not going to be Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens. That main event is going to be the Shield versus Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre. Which, one, is fucking pathetic, and two, is just fucking nauseating and bullshit. The WWE Championship, if the Universal title is not on a pay-per-view, the WWE Championship should main event the show. Plain and simple. But that was your Raw review for last night, March 4th, 2019. I will definitely be able to... SmackDown's a lot more easily to manage. I'd be able to watch SmackDown and be done with it. I was like getting through Raw and I was just like, ugh, I can't do this tonight. I'll have to do it tomorrow. Raw's got to really go back to 2 hours. If Raw went back to 2 hours, that would be like, there would be so less filler. And quite honestly, with the fact that they're hurting with talent right now, and the fact that Matt Hardy and Kevin Owens both went to SmackDown, kind of hurt them even more. We'll have to figure that one out. We'll see you guys tomorrow tonight for SmackDown Live. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. I want to really hear you guys' feedback on this, what you guys think of what's going on here. Find me on Twitter at TheFront, find me on twitch.tv/TheFront08, and I will see you guys tonight for SmackDown Live.